What's good, Melanin Warriors? On May 1st, 1866, long burning tensions involving the residents of southern Memphis, Tennessee, boiled over into a 3-day massacre known as the Memphis Riot of 1866. Let's get it, man. Let's go.
Stand for something, you gon' fall for anything. Melanin Warriors. Let's go. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Warriors. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Warriors. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Warriors. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Melanin Warriors. Melanin Warriors. I shade all my kings and queens. Melanin Warriors. Either you stand for something or fall for anything.
So this all started when a white police officer attempted to arrest a highly melanated ex-soldier of the Civil War who fought for the Union, mind you. And it was estimated that about 50 highly melanated people showed up to stop this police officer from locking him up. Reports varied, of course, saying that who began the shooting and whatnot, but the altercation that happened quickly spread to more and more people of the city. The only victims at the start of this was only the melanated soldiers, but the violence quickly spread to several other melanated people living just south of Memphis who were attacked in their homes, schools, and they were burning the churches. White Northerners who worked as missionaries and school teachers in the melanated schools, they were targeted also. So real quick, man, shout out to the white people who were part of the struggle, man, because even at that time, they knew what was right. They knew that we were human beings just like everyone else, and there were a lot that actually treated us such, man, and were penalized for it by their peers, man. So shout out to them. So to restore order, U.S. Army Commander George Stoneman ordered the melanated soldiers of the 3rd United States. It said colored, but I really, really hate that word, man. So I'm not using that here to describe my people. So melanated, the United States Melanated Heavy Artillery Regiment back to Fort Pickering, just outside the city. And of course, they obeyed. You know, they were soldiers, they was following orders. I guess he figured move the melanin people out of the fight, and that would stop all the violence. But never mind the hateful citizens, but the violence continued all night as the target shifted to the melanated civilians in the city. So even the Memphis police and the firemen at this time openly participated in the violence and looting, and because of this, the melanated citizens couldn't even count on them to stop the attacks or put out the fires in their neighborhood. The violence went into the second day, and Memphis Mayor John Park refused to request state or federal assistance. So on the third day, General Stoneman declared martial law and sent both melanated and white troops into the city to reestablish order. So within a month of this, the congressional committee came out to investigate the riot. They did a very intense investigation, supposedly, but the report, of course, was controlled by radical Republicans in Congress, and they used it to support the Reconstruction policies. So, due to the national impact of the report, endorsement of the amendment to the Constitution came really quick, making all ex-slave citizens, and the increasing of Republican majorities in Congress in the November 1866 elections. So the goal of the report was to show just how exposed the Southern melanated people were immediately after the end of the Civil War, but it actually only targeted the Irish Southerners as their being the major threat instead of the Southern whites as a whole. The report blamed the Irish police force of Memphis as well as the melanin Irish competition for manual labor jobs, causing the tension that led to the violence in the first place. But the report completely ignored the non-Irish whites who participated in the rioting and the role of the melanated soldiers who, before the fighting, had been given the responsibility of actually patrolling much of the city, and they were called off due to the riots. The authority given to the melanated soldiers bothered and made many of the Memphis white citizens uncomfortable who preferred that the newly freed melanin people to retain subordinate roles in their city. I mean, trying to keep the people basically in check, you know what I'm saying, for lack of a better term. So by the end of the riots, Memphis's melanin community had been devastated. 46 melanated people had been killed. 2 white people died in the conflict, one result of an accident and the other a policeman because of a self-inflicted gunshot. We just gonna leave that where that's it. There were also 5 rapes and 285 people were injured. Over 100 houses and buildings burned down as a result of the riot and neglect of the firemen. And guess what, y'all? No arrests were made. No arrests were made. And that's a doggone shame, man. In to some aspect, we're still dealing with stuff like that today, where melanin people are being hunted, or just completely being beaten, killed, shot, unarmed, things like that for no reason, and nothing happens. But they're trying to get better, I guess. But we all know the story, man. However, the melanin people kept on and continued to thrive in Memphis, much like Atlanta, continuing to be resourceful in the face of adversity. And as the highly melanated people begin to come together, it's making this country even better. Look, y'all, the South were not the only places where melanin people had been victimized and overcame. So y'all join me next week as I talk about the massacre of the melanin people in New York, guys. Peace and blessings, my people. Ashe.
You gon' stand for something, you gon' fall for anything. Melanin warriors. Let's go. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Warriors. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Warriors. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Warriors. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. We melanin warriors. Melanin warriors.